States. So, despite everything, I'd like to wish the American people a happy Independence Day. And of course, Canada had their, Independence Day on July 1st. Now, I realize that there's a lot of angst and disappointment over the situation because clearly neither Canada nor the United States are independent at this moment. We noticed the Q site was saying there was going to be a big military move on July 4th. It's not visible to the public, but beneath the surface, big things really have happened. The Supreme Court is the hint. Okay, they have been releasing all the J6 suspects, and now they've said that Donald Trump has immunity. So the attempts to put Donald Trump in jail have been stopped, and he is definitely commander-in-chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. He controls the nuclear football, or whatever they call it, and not the people behind Biden. Now, the engineered disaster by the actor pretending to be Joe Biden at the Trump-Biden debate was a sign of regime change. And there has been a wholesale removal of Rockefeller-controlled interests behind the scenes. This includes Barack Obama, Hitler, and John Podesta, David Rockefeller Jr. The whole clan is being removed from power. But the battle is not over yet. Obviously, we still need to see more. They're pushing for Kamala Harris, and they're asking the Chinese, please support us, give us money so we can have, we'll give you an Indian woman who will obey China if you just give us the money to keep the U.S. corporation going. I strongly urge the Chinese not to fall for it again because she's just be a house slave like Barack Obama was and is not representing real change. Now, the other thing, of course, we noticed is the huge so-called election victory by Keir Starmer of the Labour Party in the UK. MI6 called me up this morning to say that the election was blatantly stolen, and they are very upset about it. Nigel Farage, though, did get in, and my understanding is that what's happened is that there's so many people being blackmailed by pedophilia, especially in the UK establishment, starting with so-called King Charles and then going on down from there, that they basically circle the wagons and are saying, look, we will obey you, but you have to give us truth and reconciliation. We don't want to be taken to war crimes tribunals. So that's the negotiation going on behind the scenes. And again, of course, in Canada, we have this incredibly unpopular Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, still clinging there in power. He's clinging because him and the people around him know that the alternative is to go to jail. But I guarantee you that it's just a matter of time before he's gone. So hang in there, folks. The various vaccine lawsuits, the scientific studies coming in from all over the world claiming this was a mass murder event is leading to legal action on many fronts. Remember, the wheels of justice grind slowly, but they grind to dust, and they are grinding towards these people. Klaus Schwab is gone. A lot of the other ones are gone. In Israel, too, now, the fact is that a committee of 30 generals has basically taken over control of that country. Benjamin Netanyahu and his messianic fanatics are now isolated. They don't have control of the military, so that's an end game there. The Iranians are just about to put in a moderate person in power, so that's a big change. There's also change happening in Japan. I had a meeting this week with a North Korean representative, and they tell me that although they are now militarily able to take over South Korea, they're going to wait for regime change in the West because then they know there'll be peaceful reunification. At the same time, we're hearing that there will be a new prime minister in September in Japan. So there's basically regime change in the UK, in Japan, in France, of course, we saw the big victory by the Marine Le Pen and the right-wing forces there. We noticed that the top rabbi there is saying the Jews need to evacuate from France, which I think is a clear sign the Rothschilds have lost control of France. And so there's regime change coming to France as well. And, in the U.S., there is already a de facto Trump government. The corporate show with Kamala Harris and all that kind of stuff, it's not going anywhere. And I seriously doubt there will be a November election. And if there is, it will be predetermined for Donald Trump, with JFK Jr. being given a job to clean up the vaccine crimes. And Donald Trump did make a speech saying that. He said that he's going to set up a special committee to study autism and all the other strange things that have been happening in recent decades, and investigate big pharma. And I'm pretty sure that what they're going to do is they offer that job to JFK Jr. We'll see, but that is happening. And the situation is also changing worldwide. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization had their big meeting last week, and they basically control most of the world. The big things that happened there was that the Russians have basically reached a deal with the Anglo-Saxon military-industrial complex. The Russians are offering a new security arrangement for Eurasia. They'll be in charge of the landmass there. And already India and North Korea have joined a military alliance with Russia. This means that China cannot bully its neighbors, and they will have to join too. And we know that de facto the Germans are also joining this alliance, and so will NATO. And the Anglos will take care of the oceans and the worldwide commerce outside of the Eurasian landmass. So there's been a division of powers there. So that agreement has already been reached. We expect more changes in the fall. Now, another thing that's come to my attention, and I think people need to understand this, because if we want to deal with China, we have to recognize some realities. The fact is that, they still pretend in the English press that the U.S. is the biggest economy in the world, and the CIA and stuff say, okay, on a purchasing power parity basis, in other words, the real value of the economy, they're 25% bigger than the U.S. Well, here's some statistics, for you. They produce 12 times more steel and 26 times more concrete. They sell, let me look at my numbers, 26 million cars a year versus 15 million for the U.S. And they sell 444 million smartphones a year compared to 144 million in the U.S. So they're way bigger. They're like already 3 or 4 times bigger than the U.S. economy. Now, I have been talking to representatives of the Chinese, and they are on board with a multipolar world, but we need to unite with the Russians, the Indians, and everybody else to make sure that it's not, we don't replace or U.S. hegemony with Chinese hegemony. It has to be multipolar. And that means that the idiots still trying to fight Russia need to wake up and realize that Russia is our best hope to prevent China from becoming the absolute dominant force in the world. And the Chinese know this. They don't want to conquer the world. All right, the hardliners do, but most of them are happy with a multipolar arrangement, and they want world peace. Now, the other thing that came out of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit that got my interest is that the Taliban was there, and they agreed to help fight terrorism. So did the rest of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And Turkey was there, Pakistan was there, Iran was there, and they all basically agree that the international terrorism is funded by the Khazarian mafia, financed through Switzerland and the the Khazarian mafia faction in the U.S., and they basically said, the whole world said, we're sick and tired of your false flag attacks and your terrorism, and it has to stop. So that has been done. So again, as summer continues, the United States, as it currently exists, is going to continue to collapse, and the 30 million illegal immigrants are causing a crime wave of unprecedented proportions, as I noticed in my weekly report. And if you're shot in Chicago, more than 50% of the time, and you call 911, there'll be no police available to respond. That's how bad it is. Okay, that's a situation that requires mobilization of the National Guard, and I'm disturbed to see that that has not yet happened, but it is necessary. The United States is facing a military emergency, and we expect some kind of mobilization. But my understanding, if you look at the facts on the ground, is that they're waiting for things to get worse before they move in. But clearly, we need more action on that front. Finally, as far as the new financial system is concerned, again, all I'm hearing is that something will be announced in the autumn. I noticed that the Pope, or whoever is pretending to be Pope Francis, has called for a worldwide debt relief. So that's a sign that the Vatican Bank is on board, and we know that the Rothschilds in the UK are on board. So we'll bring this up with the Chinese, because they're the world, they're basically the people most everybody owes money to, apart from the Japanese. But I think we can reach a deal with them for some kind of reboot in the autumn. In the meantime, expect gradual regime change over the summer and continued economic turmoil in the West. But hopefully this will be the last bad summer. Again, I wish we saw more moves towards open independence, but the good guys are winning, hanging there, folks. It is definitely going in a good direction, and the systematic regime change is evidence of this. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself this week. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Hi, Ben. We have our first question for today. We are seeing internment camps being set up all over the United States and military buildup at the southern border. Any insights as to what may be happening or planned?
My understanding is there are two factions still duking it out. One faction, the White Hats, wants to use these internment camps to put in all the military-age illegal male immigrants before processing them for return to their own countries. And other groups are saying, no, this is to put in U.S. patriots and Christians. My guess is that the patriots and Christians are going to win this hands down, and the only people who are going to go into those internment camps are the illegal military-age male immigrants. But, you know, hang on to your guns, folks, and get ready for a fight if you have to. Whatever you do, if men in black come to your house and ask you to, you know, go somewhere, don't fight them. Next question.
Hi, Ben. I have a question. Read the avatars of the KM. We hear that the likes of Obama, Clinton, etc. have been removed from this planet or in Guantanamo. Then the next minute they are on world stage. Are they just mask-wearing avatars, etc., Obama, or have they not been removed yet like Soros?
You know, I've been getting a lot of headaches about all this avatar business, but my conclusion is that even if the original Hillary Clinton, etc., are long gone, it doesn't matter. As long as there are forces able to put them on all our screens, acting as if they are still there and still in control, then it's not over. We need to have a situation like we had with George Bush Sr., where there's a funeral and the whole world is told they're dead and they stop appearing anywhere all the time. And until that happens, I don't care if they're avatars or not, there's still people in power using them as fronts for not very nice purposes. So we want to see a complete end to all avatars of the known criminals like Hillary Clinton, Hitler, and Barack Obama, Hitler, etc. Next question.
Hi, Ben. You said Netanyahu was behind the current war. He turned a blind eye and let it happen. But that still means that the Palestinian Hamas are guilty of the horrendous crimes, including dragging hostages into the Gaza streets whilst civilians cheered. Or is that all fake news?
In my worldview, Netanyahu and Hamas are on the exact same team. They have people whose job is to act like evil terrorists in order to justify killing civilians to supposedly fight terrorism. The International Criminal Court has filed criminal charges against both Netanyahu and his cabinet and Hamas. And they're all part of the same team. And the whole thing, as far as I'm concerned, was staged to justify an attempt to kick the Palestinians out of the Gaza Strip so they could build a new canal there and also exploit the gas resources there. But it's blown up in their faces, and I think it's leading to the end of Israel as we know it, and its imminent replacement by a more benevolent, less antisocial country, hopefully to be called Judea. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Who fathered the baby conceived allegedly when Assange was in captivity at the embassy?
I don't have information on that. I'll make some inquiries, but I just don't know. Next question, please.
Hi, Ben. We have our last question for today. What will happen to the fake British monarchy that are actually German blue bloods when it all comes crashing down?
Well, that's a good question that the British people are going to have to answer. Queen Elizabeth, before she was killed, said that she wanted Princess Anne to act as regent, in other words, de facto queen for Crown Prince William's son George. Other groups would like to have that whole Battenberg family removed and maybe have the first King Harold since 1066. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to be up to the British people to decide. But I have heard there is a monarch from an ancient bloodline going back more than 2,000 years who is in de facto control. But again, it's not, the control is not so great that this person can come out in public at this point. But, you know, the British people have to decide. That's their call. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself this week, and we'll keep the fight going, but my prognosis is there's going to be continued collapse of the current order in the West before something new can be rebuilt, hopefully as early as this fall. So, you know, you might want to tune out of the news for a while and enjoy the summer and hope for better news in the fall. Okay, well, I hope to see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.